name is Brandon Fletcher. I sold my house on Houzeo and I made almost $20,000 or saved almost $20,000 by using Houzeo at houzeo.com. So because it was a pretty solid seller's market, I just didn't feel like my house was in a nice, kind of a sought after area. I didn't think I needed a realtor. And so I thought, well, I'll just put it on the MLS, and I didn't realize that's not how it worked. So I learned a little bit, and then I started searching for companies that would help me put it on the MLS. And then when I came upon Houzeo, I found that there were so many other options, kind of plug and play type of options. So if you found that you needed something, that they had that to offer, you weren't out there completely on your own. It ended up being a very good decision because, I really enjoyed working with Houzeo. Well, there's certainly a time and a place, for real estate agents, and I think they have a good purpose here. But if your house is in a sought after location, or it's in good condition, or it's a seller's market, I don't think there's any reason why you would need a real estate agent. I think they're very helpful in the exact opposite conditions, which are not what we have today. But Houzeo did really the majority of the work that I think is most important, which is getting the house on the official MLS, which is critical, and doing it in a very timely manner, and being that interface. And to me, that's most people are so tech savvy nowadays that they're just going to go to the internet. They're going to look at the houses that they want to see. Very rarely they're just going to tell an agent, this is kind of what we're looking for, just help us with this, versus look it up themselves on the internet. And I knew that. And so we had all of those, those pieces in place, which just a couple of those pieces, I think would help you decide on something like Houzeo. But we had all of them. So to me, it was a very easy decision. So that's how we came upon that. It really wasn't, they made it very clear and concise and efficient. And there was no more effort than explaining this information to a realtor that would have been filling out the same types of forms. So there was no additional time. It was actually a lot less time involved. And at any time I had a question, there was always somebody there, literally at the end of a phone line, which is not normal nowadays. So I think if anything is important for people to know is you guys are literally at the end of a phone line, because sometimes it's going to be a very stressing situation, that sometimes it's a very emotional and stressful situation on top of it. So to have the help there when you really weren't even expecting to have the help there, to have it there so quickly, and helpfully, was really important. And that's one of the things I think I like the most about using your company. Because we found that we were not getting the traffic that were reliant, the buyers that were reliant on a realtor. So a realtor, if that was the main portal for the being used, like say a lot of out of town people, et cetera, that would rely on a realtor, they weren't going to even bother with the property if they didn't get some sort of reimbursement that they thought was reasonable. And so some were okay with the 2%, most weren't. Actually, it was more like 2.5% or 3%. We ended up in the last bit, we did get traffic, but not nearly as much as I think we should have at the time. So we did raise that later, just a bit to make it more fair. And that was really just kind of a little bit of an ignorance on our part, not realizing, kind of what goes into that, and that type of thing could actually be a hindrance for bringing potential buyers to your property. So I would recommend being flexible in that percentage, and possibly even, either creating some sort of caveat, that it might be negotiable, because you might, or especially if you want to sell something quickly, it will bring more traffic. It will definitely bring more traffic to the site if you provide a higher reimbursement for the buyer's agent, for certain. But 2% certainly got us a lot of traffic. But it wasn't until we, stated that we'd be flexible and move that percentage up that we had, 3 offers in one day. It was clearly written. I mean, you didn't have to wonder how to make the changes. It's very clear to follow, and very user-friendly, and it was just very straightforward. I'm trying to find the words, I'm sorry. And it was quick, the response, to have it reviewed. And I did feel like somebody was actually reviewing some of these things. I mean, I did have somebody actually come back with a question to say, this may not, be the right way to phrase this or something. And I thought that was very helpful. And it was very quick. It was literally on and out to, Redfin and those Zillow, etc. I mean, within hours. It was a very, very efficient. And it was about as straightforward and as easy as you could get. I mean, I think my dog could have done it. It was so easy. I didn't, but honestly, I didn't need to. Everything was so clear and concise, and I really didn't need to. It was up and out, and everything worked so smoothly that I'm sure if I had hit some major stumbling blocks, I'm sure Glenn would have been right there. But I didn't. There really wasn't any. So, I think the good, no news is good news, really. So, I mean, I had some questions, and I did call support, and I had, people quickly and very efficiently and kindly, help me and ensure, and they did follow up, and Glenn responded very quickly with them. And, and it was just, everything was just simple. I think simple is what we look for nowadays, isn't it? We're all so busy. It was simple and clear and effective, and there weren't any gaps. And I think it's a really, really strong product you guys have. It wasn't even like one avenue. There was multiple avenues. I think there was like a little chat box or something, and then of course there's phone calls. It didn't matter how you needed to, interact with them. They were there, spot on, immediately. And then with phone call follow-ups, etc. They ensured that whatever the need was not just listened to and reacted to or sent off to the right people. They ensured they walked it through to make sure it was actually resolved. I probably, I was trying to do things fairly quickly, and I was trying to sell a house from a place when I live in a different state. So some things weren't as easy for me, and I did have some questions. And most of it was about things that I think that are not even would be standard things that people would have to ask questions about, because I had some odd little strange situations, and they still helped me out very quickly. So I would say probably maybe 4 times, maybe 5. And within seconds, I had somebody helping me. And then again, following through the entire process. And it wasn't that I had troubles with anything. I was trying to, seek maybe, additional information, or I had a strange situation. And I think, there was once I'd asked when something was going to post, and literally within the phone call, even though it was before the time that was expected, within the phone call, they even expedited even more, which was, just very impressive, very customer focused, very customer attentive. Yeah, it was strange because you don't find that nowadays. So that to me is one of the things that makes Houzeo so unique. My advice for the other home sellers would be, for one, sell it on your own because most likely you should be able to do that quite well. I would consider a reasonable um, reimbursement for the buyer's real estate agent that will bring a lot more visibility, to your home. I would put a big professional, nice looking sign out front. I think that's it. Make sure you have a lockbox. That's helpful if you're not there. And yeah, use a company like Houzeo. I already have. Yeah. I already have. Yeah. It's an absolute obvious. Yes. Houzeo to me just took out the middleman. And when I've spent a good portion of my life trying to build assets within a home, cutting out the middleman for that very hard-earned asset appreciation to me is really important. I didn't want to toss away $20,000-$30,000 to sell my house when I didn't really think I needed to. So for me, it was a very economical decision, and it was worthy. So it basically erased, I think, an expense that I didn't need to do, and that's an expense that might have taken 10 years to build into the property, asset of your property. I mean, it's big, and if it's not necessary, then why would you do that? So to me, it just makes sense, and it did make sense, and yeah, we came out well on the end of that.